Presenter, reporter, journalist, podcaster, and now author. Well,
Gosh.
your first novel.
Well, I guess, and Laura, I've wanted to do this for such a long time, and I've never really, I've always sort of made the excuse of, I'm working, I'm doing this and doing that. And I thought to myself, if I don't do it now, when am I going to do it? Mm-hmm. So last year I was pretty ruthless. I just kind of carved out big chunks of time, and I had the story buzzing about in my head. And I've really enjoyed it. It's been the most difficult thing I've had to do, I think, but the most satisfying.
The Island Swimmer, we should say it's called, first of all. Where did the idea for it come from?
Well, I think I was always going to write about Orkney because I love it. It's one of my favourite places in the world. I've been going there since the 80s and still haven't seen everything. But it's such a rich place, culturally it's so rich, so much to talk about. And I had the characters sort of buzzing around in my head and the story as well. And I knew I was going to go from A to B to there. But oh my goodness me, you go all the way round. Yeah. I remember talking to Marion Keyes about writing, and I love her. And she said, oh, you never know where the characters will take you. And I was like, but you're writing it, you're doing it. But I know what she means now, because you sort of, something occurs to you halfway through an idea you thought you had, and then you're away down a rabbit hole. Yeah. I wrote it all, then delivered it. And then, of course, you've got to polish it and get it all sorted. But yeah, I just hope people like it. That's really what I hope.
What it made me do was fall in love with Orkney.
And
I've
so
never
glad.
been.
You've not been to Orkney?
I want to go to that chapel. With
I'm taking you immediately. Oh, for goodness sake.
You have done wonders for the Orkney Tourist Board, honestly.
I can see myself living there, but living there all the time.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that eventually.
Yeah.
It would be my happy place.
You taught me a new word.
The new word?
PD.
PD.
I've never heard of
PD
PD
is small.
Yes,
there's nothing like you go to Orkney and you hear your first PD.
I can't believe it's 41 years
No.
on our TV.
It's ridiculous.
How do you feel when you look back on that and you hear that number?
I don't know, 40 years since, in breakfast TV, but I can't even begin. It doesn't feel like that at all. I still feel as if I'm just learning, and every day is a school day. I learn something new every day. I'm a very curious person. I like to find out things. Some might say nosy. I prefer to say curious.
Curious is good.
I think I prefer to say curious. But yeah, it's incredible, actually. It is amazing, and I still love it.
You covered Lockerbie, and you did that programme recently as well, which was so moving. And you've done a lot of campaigns on your show. How important has that been to you in your career?
Hugely important. The campaigns that we do here are incredible, and of course it's a team effort, especially the campaign we did for breast cancer, because there are 70 women that we know of who are walking around because they saw the show and they checked themselves and they went to the doctors and they're okay. They got the treatment they needed. And then these amazing women formed a choir, and their single got to number 1. Very emotional and bittersweet, actually, because one of our gorgeous producers, Hannah, she worked a lot on this, and she had breast cancer herself. Very sadly, just after her baby was born, little Rory, the cancer came back. One of the last things that she heard was that single. It was a great comfort to her family.
I'm going to ask you the question that every taxi driver asks me,
and
I'm sure you have it all the time. Who's the best person you've interviewed, and who is the worst?
The best for me, because I'm a geek, was Buzz Aldrin, the second man on the moon, as well as that, though, George Clooney. The last time I interviewed him, Rosie was coming to meet me at the hotel with Ruby, her wee sausage dog. And as George Clooney was coming down the corridor, Ruby was coming out the lift. Now, the thing about Ruby is, when she sees somebody, particularly a man, she pees on them. So I was horrified. I'm thinking, I could see it in slow motion. I could see Ruby running to George Clooney, and I thought, oh my God. Do you know what she did?
What?
She didn't pee on him. She lay flat on her back and wiggled her little legs and looked at him like, hi, George.
He has that effect even on dogs.
Even on dogs.
Wow.
Robert Downey Jr. kept us waiting for 2 hours. We were in a hotel room. These people said, because we've always got people, that it was too hot.
Wow.
And we had to bring the temperature down. So we opened the windows and we did all sorts of things, and he still didn't like it. So he kept us waiting for a long, long time. But Ross King can go one better, because Ozzy Osbourne kept him waiting for 3 days once.
3 days? Why?
Ross just kept going back to the hotel and going,
is he there yet?
And they'd go, nah, come back later, Ross, come back later.
When you were growing up in East Kilbride,
yes,
Was this your dream? Do you think that
No.
would have been, what did you want to do?
I wanted to be a fighter pilot. I remember going to the careers office in Claremont High School, Ennis Kilbride, and they laughed and said, don't be ridiculous, because then women didn't do that. I was supposed to go into university. I applied for a job at the East Kilbride News, and I was very lucky to get that. And then that was me off on that road. But I never, ever thought that I'd be sitting on a sofa, you know, with my hair done and wearing tons of makeup and all that and talking to George Clooney, for goodness sakes. That was never on my radar. But getting the job as Scottish correspondent, that was my dream job. That was amazing. You know, that was way back for TVAM. And I kind of, you know, I was like a wee terrier every morning. I'd be on the phone to them going, this is happening, we have to cover this, we have to do that. And it was an amazing time because I got to do everything. I loved that job. And I only went down to London for cover for a week. And then, you know, here we are.
You've done not too badly.
Still doing holiday cover.